Kim Pramatasya Babubi Parokshai Hayanai Iha Varam Muhurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yata Kim Pramatasya Babubi Parokshar Harnariha Brahmuhurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yataha Kim Pramatasya Bahubihi Parokshar Harnariha Brahmuhurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yataha Kim Pramatasya Bahubi Parokshar Harnariha Brahmuhurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yataha
Kim Pramatasya Bahubi Parokshar Hayanariha Varam Muhurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yataha
Kim Pramatasya Bahubi Parokshar Hayanaraha Varam Muhurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yataha
King Pramatasya Bahubi Parokshar Hayanariha
Should we do, Prabhu?
Rang Muhurtang Viditang Gatate Shreyase Yataha
Pramatasya Bahubihi Parakshar Hayanariha Brahmahurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yataha Kim Pramatasya Bahubi Parokshar Hayanariha Varamuhurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yataha
Kim Pramatasya Bahubi Parokshar Hayanariha Varam Muhurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yataha
Kim Pramatasya Bahubi Parokshar Hayanariha Varam Muhurtam Viditam Gatate Shreyase Yataha
Kim, what is Pramatasya of the bewildered, Bahubi by many, Parokshai unexperienced, Hayanai years, Yaha in this world, Varam better, Muhurtam a moment, Viditam conscious, Gadate one can try for, Shreyase in the matter of the supreme interest, Yata by that, Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. Purport. Srila Sukadev Goswami instructed Maharaj Parikshit about the importance of chanting the holy name of the Lord by every progressive gentleman. In order to encourage the king, who had only 7 remaining days of life, Srila Sukadev Goswami asserted that there is no use in living hundreds of years without any knowledge of the problems of life. Better to live for a moment with full consciousness of the supreme interest to be fulfilled. The supreme interest of life is eternal, with full knowledge and bliss. Those who are bewildered by the external features of the material world and are engaged in the matter of the animal propensities of the eat, drink, and be merry type of life are simply wasting their lives while the unseen passing away of valuable years. We should know in perfect consciousness that human life is bestowed upon the conditioned soul to achieve spiritual success, and the easiest possible procedure to attain this end is to chant the holy name of the Lord. In the previous verse, we have discussed this point to a certain extent, and we may further be enlightened on the different types of offenses committed unto the feet of the holy name. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu has quoted many passages from authentic scriptures and has ably supported the statements in the matter of offenses at the feet of the holy name. From Vishnu Jamala Tantra, Srila Jiva Goswami has proven that one can be liberated from the effects of all sins simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Quoting from the Markandeya Purana, Sri Goswamiji says that one should neither blaspheme the devotee of the Lord nor indulge in hearing others who are engaged in belittling the devotee of the Lord. A devotee should try to restrict the vilifier by cutting out his tongue, and being unable to do so, one should commit suicide rather than hear the blaspheming of the devotee of the Lord. The conclusion is that one should neither hear nor allow vilification of a devotee of the Lord. As far as distinguishing the Lord's holy name from the names of the demigods, the revealed scriptures disclose, Bhagavatam 10:41, Bhagavad Gita 10:41, that all extraordinarily powerful beings are parts and parcels of the supreme energetic Lord Krishna. Except the Lord himself, everyone is subordinate. No one is independent of the Lord, since no one is more powerful than or equal to the energy of the Supreme Lord. No one's name can be as powerful as that of the Lord. By chanting the Lord's holy name, one can derive all the stipulated energy synchronized from all sources. Therefore, one should not equalize the supreme holy name of the Lord with any other name. Brahma, Shiva, or any other powerful god can never be equal to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. The powerful holy name of the Lord can certainly deliver one from sinful effects. One who desires to utilize this transcendental potency of the holy name of the Lord in one's sinister activities is the most degraded person in the world. Such persons are never excused by the Lord or by any agent of the Lord. One should therefore utilize one's life in glorifying the Lord by all means, without any offense. Such activity of life, even for a moment, is never to be compared with a prolonged life of ignorance, like the lives of the tree and other living entities who may live for thousands of years without prosecuting spiritual advancement. Translation again. What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. Maharaj Pariksit is a very intelligent king, and he understood Sukadeva Goswami that rather than spend one's time trying to add years to one's life, it's better to add life to one's years. It's no use living for thousands of years like a tree or a mountain in dull consciousness in the mode of ignorance. So this purport by Srila Prabhupada is very enlightening, and he touches on the offenses of the holy name, which was discussed in yesterday's class. And in chanting the Panchatattva Maha Mantra, there are no offenses. So Chaitanya Charitamrita recommends that one should chant the Panchatattva Maha Mantra along with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and that will give very quick success in the matter of ending the offenses to the holy name of the Lord, because Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are so kind that they don't accept any offenses, whereas Krishna does accept offenses, and these 10 offenses to the holy name are mentioned. And the first offense is to blaspheme devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy names of the Lord. And this statement is very, seems to our American vision very shocking, that one should cut out the tongue of one who is blaspheming a devotee of the Lord. But this is a Shastric evidence, but we cannot do this in America. If we do, we'll be arrested and put into jail, because Prabhupada wanted us to follow the rules of the place we live in as far as possible. So if one is unable to kill the blasphemer, then one should leave that place. One should not hear anybody criticizing a devotee of the Lord. And vilifying the devotee of the Lord is more serious than vilifying Krishna himself, because Krishna never excuses anyone who makes an offense at the feet of his devotee. And there are 3 kinds of offenses. There are offenses of the mind, mental offenses, thinking ill of a devotee. But in Kali Yuga, we're not so much responsible for mental offenses, but a verbal offense is more serious, and a physical offense, physically attacking a devotee, is the most serious offense. Nowadays, the Muslims take the blasphemy of Lord Muhammad very seriously, and we also should take blaspheming of Jesus Christ or Muhammad seriously, because they're Shaktaves avatars. So this human form of life is very valuable, and it's very rarely achieved. And out of this human form of life, there are 400,000 species out of 8,400,000 species. But most of the 400,000 species are uncivilized. Yes, civilized species are more rarely attained. And the uncivilized species can also attain perfection by the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord. And the Panchatattva, or the deliverer, are the most fallen souls. So everyone should take advantage of the mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya and constantly chant the holy name of the Lord. Even if we're chanting with offenses still, if we chant constantly, those offenses will gradually decrease. And once this process is started, even if we fail to achieve perfection in this life, whatever we do, whatever little service in Bhakti Yoga we do, swapamapiyasa dharmasya, that devotional service is never lost. It'll be continued life after life. And when one achieves 100% Krishna consciousness, then one is eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. So this Bhakti Yoga is the only auspicious process in Kali Yuga. It doesn't cost anything to chant Hare Krishna. And the profit is very great. We can, in our conditioned state, we can even calculate the value of attaining love. And sometimes those living entities who are very sinful, they're condemned to take the body of trees. And sometimes the Mayavadi philosophers, because they say that all activity is Maya, devotional service is Maya, the devotees are Maya, and Krishna is Maya. Ultimate truth is Brahma Jyoti. For this offensive attitude and the offensive statements, the Mayavadis are also punished to take birth as trees, because as trees, their desires will be satisfied. They have no activity. The trees cannot move even an inch. They have to stand up. We saw in California, there's some trees that have been standing up in one place for thousands of years. In India also, there's some banyan trees, thousands of years old. And in Vrindavan Dham, there are many trees, thousands of years old, and many of these trees in the former life, they were Mayavadis, but after leaving the tree body in this life, because they're in Vrindavan, they go back home, back to Godhead. Jai Shri Sri Gaur Nitai. Are there any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. I was just wondering if you could, how is it that like a transcendentalist, like a yogi who's attained the Brahma Jyoti, how does he get a worse arrangement in his next life, like a tree body, than someone who like takes birth as like a dog? You know, because in my mind, I'm thinking that taking birth as a dog is way better than taking birth as a tree. So, I don't know, this may be a silly question, but I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Well, there are three modes of material nature, and the trees are, their consciousness is so dull that they're in the lowest modes of ignorance, as are the other plant species, and the fish are also in the mode of ignorance, and the dogs and cats are also condemned. So this this hedonistic philosophy of eat, drink, and be merry and enjoy, this is the philosophy of animals. And the liberation, the impersonalists achieved by going to the Brahmajyoti in the spiritual sky, that is also temporary because there's no devotional service. So the spiritual soul is by nature active. He can only remain inactive for so many days. But the natural desire of the spirit soul is activity, and the perfection of activity is Krishna consciousness or devotional service. We see sometimes Mayavadi sannyasis, they become tired of studying Vedanta day after day, and they fall down to material activities like opening schools, opening hospitals, because the spirit soul is by nature active, even though these activities are material. The Mayavadis say, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. We also say Brahma is truth, but Jagat is not Mithya. Jagat is temporary and full of miseries, but it is not false, because anything that's created by Krishna cannot be false. Even though this world is temporary and full of misery, still there are many wonderful things in it because it is a manifestation of Krishna's intelligence. Anything else? Yes. Jai Keshava Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. In a verse, it's says, "What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world?" Can you explain this sentence to me? Inexperienced by years in this world. I don't quite understand that.
Well, Sukadeva Goswami is explaining to Maharaj Pariksit that it's better to have a moment in Krishna consciousness than a whole life without Krishna consciousness, even if one lives like a person in the higher planets for many millions of years. But a devotee of the Lord is more fortunate than the demigods because a devotee, after living this brief life of at most 100 years, at the end of his life, he's either going to the spiritual world or he's going to the planet where Krishna's pastimes are taking place in a different universe, or he's continuing devotional service in this world and continuing in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. So Krishna consciousness is always the most auspicious path for self-realization.
So the inexperienced part is like being inexperienced in devotional service in your present life, wasting it basically?
Yes.
Okay.
There's that saying, there's no fool like an old fool. Okay, we can have the Sankirtan Festival now. Thank you for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
So this week, for the week of February 6th, we'll read the scores for the pleasure of Sri Sri Gaurnitai, Tulsi Maharani, Srila Prabhupada, the Sampradaya Acharyas, Lord Nrsimhadev, the assembled devotees, and the TOVP.